everyone, this is Ben at Truly Simple Solutions, and we're just going to look at some preferences and features in the preferences. And the way you get to those is right over here. You just click and choose Preferences. And this is where you set up, like, your basically in your registration, your company address and everything is set up. And then you can insert your company logo and a second graphic that'll appear on some layouts. And you've basically got the section of operating costs, display settings, employees and users, and some administration. And then within these, what we've got, so we're going to take a look a little more detailed. So operating costs, you can enter in your different departments and the retail labor rate, how much discount between the regular rate and the discount rate if you're using two-column pricing, and the labor costs per billed hour you can put in based on your billable efficiency calculations, and your percentage of labor burden on the total of your labor, and then your overhead cost per billed hour. So you can set that up for each department, so you'll be able to track the cost of those when you use some of that data in some of our upcoming stuff, where it'll be tracking how many jobs and things like that. And it's very easy to add a department. You can just click on that, and you've got the new department here, and you can say whatever you want to call that department, new department. I'm thinking of it. Well, let's say it's maintenance. And you can give maintenance a labor rate, and you could fill in 15. Also, you can just enter a 15 and it turns it into a percentage. It's all calculated, so you don't have to type the decimal or anything like that. Build the labor cost per billed hour. So that might be 30 and the percent 26, and overhead per billed hour, we're going to guess because we're making this up on the fly, is 100. Okay, well, that ain't going to make any money then, is it? So you can't do much at those kind of rates. There we go. All right, and then you can set up what's your default department, your discount method to discount the total flat rate or discount labor only, and then you can set up your cost and retail, and you've got choices for your tax rate to include the tax in the task price. In some areas you wouldn't want to keep it separate. In some areas you want to separate it depending on how your local or state government works, or national in some cases. You can set up the tax on material only or on total sales, and then if you are choosing material, then you can choose it at cost or retail. And then you've got a bonus on items like materials. You can track how much materials sold, and you can have a bonus available and track that. Then you can set up your item pricing settings. You can choose sliding scale or percentage. The percentage is going to go across the board. So if I choose percent, it's now going to use this 50% on everything, and it will ignore what's in the sliding scale. If I choose sliding scale, then that's what it is. And then this is where you change these settings, and then it'll update your item prices throughout the whole database. And then if you've made changes on your items, then you can update all the task item prices based on what you've just set up. Okay, then ESP is an acronym for Extended Service Plan, and this lets you display those values or not, and then it'll put it the same thing. You can choose it on all tasks, a percentage, or you can do a sliding scale. That's about all for operating costs. Display settings, we have a video that kind of shows some of the stuff as far as you can display, you know, what items, what like the code for these things are going to show up on your tasks, and whether you're going to display the ESP, SPIF, add-ons. Some people don't want to use add-ons. We can open up another window here and just show you that. You can hold the Shift key when you click those, and then it opens it in a second window. And actually, let's go to a price guide. Let's go to plumbing repairs. We're going to do another video on these too to show you how to make those buttons, because it'll find whatever group of data you like. And also, there's another nice feature is, oops, let me slide this up a little bit. Okay, that's good enough. You can click this and just make things bigger, which is nice when you're looking at it on screen. And you can see here that's an add-on numbers, and then these are the add-on prices for those jobs in the 2 column. So I've got your standard rate and your value rate right here. And if I got my preferences here, I can turn those off. So you can see, and the X is ESP for extended service plan. We can turn that off, disappears. We can turn off the add-ons, they disappear. If we don't even want to show the build minute code, this is how many build minutes, and this is how much material is billed. I can turn off the material and turn off that, and just have the job number if I want. So these are all settings you can change. In the other video, I think I showed those, but we also show the colors you can change. And your headings, what you call the column, standard rate, value rate, is changed right here. You can put your own, or you can choose some of the pre-done ones. You can set up your page footer, so discount rate is for service agreement customers only. You can put that there. And some of the layouts are going to show the extended service plan bullet. It depends on the layout that you've chosen. And all jobs must have a primary task. You can see that showing up there. And then you can set your copyright year and when the price is valid to in the book. So this is like a copyright of your data here, not the software, but a copyright, because mine is set up, the company is set up on this particular example as my company, Truly Simple Solutions. But you can set it up as yours, and then when this book is good to, so people know, if it, especially if you're printing books. This is a printed book layout we're looking at here. Okay, then quotes, you can choose what quote background and how many excuse me, columns in your quote. If you're using single column pricing, this is the same as the one over here under tasks, default number of columns. It's the same thing. If I change that to 1, then if I go over to quotes, you can see that's a 1. So if you're using 1 column pricing, then you're using it both in quotes and tasks. If you want your quotes to display in the iPad or iPhone on a legal pad, you choose that, or banana paper, or a paper bag, or a paper towel. You can choose it, or just standard. It looks like a standard kind of quote, or the formal, which is basically the same one that's emailed. So those are the different settings there, and then whether you're going to use a default tax rate or default quote items taxable, because then it's going to quote the items in the tax line, each item in the quote. Invoices, you can fill in your text for acceptance or authorization and terms, and what's the statement where the technician signs. Items, display the item retail price or item cost display. Now what that's referring to, if we go to items, we'll go to item detail, and we're in that giant view, so I'm going to go back down, and I'll just use this to shrink that up and that'll get us back to our normal size. Okay. Okay, display item price. That is when you use equipment. Nope, we're going to go to the list and then view product catalog, browse. Okay, so now we're browsing our product catalog, and you can see here it's like a code, and I'm going to enlarge that again. It's like a code that's there, and you can see this. So it's got this here. Now what is that? So on this particular part, 381 and 1270, cost and price. So it's like a code in the book. If you want your people to have that information available, then that's going to show. But if you say, no, I don't want to display that retail pricing or any pricing, it's just going to turn it off. And then item cost display, the same. So that's going to turn those on and off. And then quick links. I'm going to do another video on these, but this is where you go in and you, because it's going to take a little longer to show, but we'll make one of these. You can insert the picture, and when you click on one of these, this is how you set up, and it's going to say what it's finding. And so it's finding water heaters gas, water heaters electric, and preventive maintenance, and current tasks, and then it's telling what layout that you want it to show on in Pro, FileMaker Pro, or on the iPad or the iPhone in Go. And we'll do one of those in another video. So you can set those up and put whatever picture you want to show up there. Then general, we've got allow edit in list views, and what that does is, if we go to task list, that's going to probably go real big, as I thought, because I'm in the giant setting. We'll just shrink this up. Okay, so if you look here, if I click on this, I've got it allow edit in list views. You can see I can edit these and change this, which is what the whole point of the list is. It's wonderful to work with a list of tasks like this and be able to fix things and change things into the groups, or the page names all in, together. So if I choose not to edit in list views, and if I leave the task list and go, say, to the items list, you can see now I can't edit, but I can select a row. So we can put a point of focus there. And if I go back to tasks, you can see I can't edit it. It sort of protects your data from when people are working on the files or accessing it, other people in the office that might work on it, just so no one accidentally clicks and changes the name of a task or something like that. The tool tips that you're seeing like this, tired of seeing these tips popping up? Well, this obviously will hide those so they don't pop up when you go over it like that. Let's see. So when it's unchecked, I can go back and they do show up. And borderless image pages, that's image pages when you choose image pages, where you can set images for different things, and then these would be kind of added to a printed book. I haven't incorporated these into the iPad yet, but we already have other pictures there, but we will be doing that. So this is where you can, when you say look at this particular one, that is a borderless image page. And if I go back out and I uncheck that, and now we go to that image page, it has the border on the page. So when you print it, it's got the border to it. That's all that does. Okay, and then here we're choosing our iPhone home choice and the iPad home choice. And if you want to see what those look like, I can come over to this window and say simulate iPad simulation. Okay, so that's the regular default iPad home and iPhone simulation, the regular default iPhone home. And when you, incidentally, when you go horizontal on these on the iPhone, it changes the layout, and then everything goes across. So the horizontal one sort of holds more on it in the iPhone. And now if we were to change this, so let's change it for the iPad, and it's the same on both as far as the look. So the iPad Home Earth, when I go to simulate iPad, you can see it's the more earthy one with the like a leather stitching type of a home layout. And so you got an option there. And then default item assemblies, in another video we have that showing the item assemblies. To look at those for a printable layout, you've got item assemblies condensed and item assemblies. And when you come over here, we exit simulation and we go to tasks, and actually I think we don't have to go to tasks, we just go up to reports, and it is under price guide. No, where is it? I have forgotten. Task item list, that is where it is. So that's going to pull all the task items. So it takes a second. It's going to sort them. That's every part listed within all the tasks. And then it's going to sort it out for you and make it viewable, which is another video, shows how this is interactive. But you can see this is a certain size, and it went to that layout. And if I choose the condensed, it's a little bit tighter. It's not going to change it on the fly. I will leave it. We'll go back to task detail, and then we'll go item report, task reports, task item list, and it fits it. It looks the same here, but when it prints, it fits it a little bit tighter so you can get a little more information across that screen. Okay, and that's all the display stuff. Employees and users, you can add a new employee, and we can say Tom Smith. He's an installer. He's in the install department. And then now I've already got, for this license set up here, there's only so many. If you try to add him, it's probably going to say 6 license users, so it won't let you. But the number of users you have will let you set them up as a user account. But you can have employees entered, which later there's a whole nother section you'll get on employees and management, sort of an HR thing in some of our other versions coming out. But this is the basic thing you have here, and when you're logged in as yourself, it shows you on there, and that's how you add an employee. And if you want to change someone, say Joe Blow, we want to change him. He's been promoted to manager level. Sure, you want to extend manager privileges to Joe Blow, and then you can say OK, and it makes you rekey a new password for him. So we're going to give him one. And do that, and now he's got manager access when he logs in. You need to reset someone's password, you can click this, and you delete someone, you just can delete it, and it's going to take out the whole person and the user account, so they're gone. If you just want to deactivate a user account, you can just uncheck it, and that removes the user account, but it doesn't remove the employee. And administration, you want to check your registration details. You can click this. It'll show you that. Excuse me. This is where you set up, which we have a text file on this. This is where you set your settings for which I could probably show in another video, but that's where you set up where your data, where your server is, so your devices that are not on the server or your computer that's sharing are located. It tells them where to look to point to that. And when you've made changes and you want to save it to Go Connect, then your mobile users can receive the latest update that way. And to Go Connect, it's like this, and it'll show the latest update is here. It tells the server IP address and the file name, and then you can also export this to the desktop to other users in the office that are going to have the main user interface file on their desktop to access your served or shared files. And that's basically it for setting up all the different preference options. Thank you for your interest in Truly Simple Solutions, and we hope you have a wonderful day.